So in today's class, we will discuss about the module 5, part A, that is op-amp circuits. So in this op-amp circuits, we will be discussing about the different converters, that is digital to analog converter, analog to digital converter, and also we'll be discussing about different types of rectifiers using an op-amp. And there are different rectifiers are precision rectifiers which we are going to discuss here, because regular rectifiers are going to have a drop of zero point 0.7 or zero point 0.3 because of the diode, but these precision rectifiers, they start operating even from 0.1 volt. That because of the op amp, we are able to operate the rectifier at even at the lower level. After that, we are going to discuss about the filters and simple designing of simple filters will be discussed. So this is what we are going to study in this particular chapter. So first, we are going to study about the analog to digital and digital to analog converters. So in short, we are going to call it as A to D and D to A converters. Analog to digital and digital to analog converter. See, we know that in order to process the signal in the processor, we need the signal in the discrete values, discrete levels. So we need it in terms of zeros and ones. But when we want to when we want to transmit a signal, or when we are capturing any signal, it will be always in the analog form. So whenever you are transmitting the signal over the air or through any particular wired media, so the signal will be converted into analog form again. So that's why we need a device which is going to convert analog to digital and digital to analog wherever required based upon the situation. So whenever you are going to uh, take a signal, let us assume that my signal, whatever I'm speaking, so this is a sound signal. So this will be converted into an analog electrical signal. So even that is also analog form. This signal is going to reach the computer. There, in order to process it, it has to convert it into digital form. After that, after processing it, it has to again, while transmitting it, it has to again convert it into analog form. So in this process, we need devices. Those devices are A to D and D to A converters. So in this, we have the block diagram. So this is the basic block diagram of A to D and D to A converter. Here you can see in the beginning we are having a transducer. So transducer is a device which is going to convert one form of signal to another form of a signal. As I gave you an example of the sound signal, my mic is a transducer. It is going to receive the sound signal. Whatever I'm speaking, that is a sound signal. That sound signal is getting converted into electrical signal in the mic which I'm going to use. That signal which is in electrical form, that is the analog signal. We are using a filter because because there might be some overlapping of the signal, and we need to avoid those overlapping of the signals, and we need to send the signal part by part to this sample and hold circuit. So in the sample and hold circuit, here it is going to sample the given input signal, and it is going to hold it at some particular level. So because we need to convert the analog signal into a discrete signal. For that purpose, we are going to use this sample and hold circuit. So this here signal is going to be sampled at a frequency rate more than twice the maximum frequency of the band limited signal. Now once this is sampled, the conversion is going to take place, and the sample and hold circuit is going to say, after sampling, see, the signal will be like this. It is going to sample like this, and later on it is going to convert it into some discrete levels like this. So they'll be having instead of having this variation, it will be first converted into a response like this, step response. After that, individual pulses will be generated like this. Then this is given to the ADC, which is going to give the digital equivalent of that particular signal. So whatever the analog values we will be having, that analog values will be converted into its digital equivalent. So how we are going to convert that and all, we will be discussing these techniques in detail in the upcoming topics. Then you will understand. So just now, as of now, just remember it is going to sample and hold the signal at some particular level, and it will be giving it to ADC, which is going to convert the analog to its digital equivalent, and it is going to give the DSP, digital signal processor, or it can give it to a comparator. So based upon the application, if you are using an high-end application, if you are working on a high-end application, then you'll be having DSP. If you are working on a small, very small application, then a comparator is sufficient, where we need to just compare and uh, we need to, based upon the levels of the signal, we can the comparator, because op-amp for comparator also op-amp is used. So it is going to compare with a reference signal, and based on the reference signal, it is going to tell which is 1 and which is 0. So digital equivalent is finally obtained. Now at the receiver side, see, this is at the transmitting side. Now at the receiver side, after processing it, we need to convert again this digital signal which is there in the processor. It needs to be again converted into analog form. So that is where we are going to use digital to analog converter. So in the digital to analog converter, again, as I told, the staircase signal, so the reverse process is going to take place, a staircase signal. So the first will be forming a signal like this. This is known as the staircase signal. After that, we are going to pass it through a low pass filter. Actually, that low pass filter is also known as smoothing filter, which is going to smoothen this surface, and it is going to just give a linearly varying signal, a sinusoidal signal, and that signal we are going to get a digitally processed signal. Okay, so here we are going to give the analog signal after from the transducer. So finally, it is going to give the digital processed signal, and we'll be getting it the output. So this is this usually this kind of application or this converters are usually used in digital audio mixing, music, or video synthesis, or in the data capturing devices, in pulse position modulation, pulse code modulation (PCM), or in microprocessors. All this in all these applications, we are going to use this analog to digital and digital to analog converters. So after this, let we'll be starting with the basic digital to analog communication techniques. basic DAC techniques. So we'll start with basic digital to analog converters. In the basic digital to analog converter, basically this DAC is going to have n bit input, which are represented as B1, B2, B3 till n bit binary numbers, and it is going to give its equivalent analog signal, where B1 is the MSB, most significant bit, and the last Bn, the Bn is the LSB, which is least significant bit. So this is a simplified the block diagram which we are having. Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we are having a digital already since our main intention is to convert digital input to analog output. So we are having the input in terms of bits B1, B2, B3, like that, depending upon how many bits size you are going to use. So we have taken n bit DAC, digital to analog converter. So it is going to take all the inputs and it is going to give its analog output. Suppose we take, if n is equal to 4, then it is a 4 bit DAC. So each digital input requires an electrical signal representing either it is logic 1 or logic 0. So because in digital input it is either 1 or 0, only two values we are having. So DAC output can be either a voltage or a current signal. If you want the output in terms of voltage, you can measure it in terms of voltage also, or if you want to measure it in terms of current, that is also possible. But the input will be 0 and 1 only. So for the voltage output DAC, suppose you are taking the output as you are measuring the output in terms of voltage, then the conversion formula is V0 is equal to K into VFS into B1 2 to the power of minus 1, B2 2 to the power of minus 2, B3 2 to the power of minus 3, till Bn 2 to the power of minus n. So this is the formula, the basic formula which we are going to use, where V0 is the output voltage and VFS is the full scale output voltage, and K is the scaling factor, which will be usually 1, which is going to be adjusted usually to 1, and B1 to Bn. So these are all the n bit binary uh, numbers, what digital inputs basically, and B1 is MSB and Bn is the LSB, and B1 is given by VFS by 2 and Bn is given by VFS by 2 to the power of n. That is how we are going to find, we are going to substitute. Here, first thing we should know is resolution. There are some important parameters which we need to discuss. So basically, resolution is the number of analog output values which are given by the DAC. How many number of analog output values which are given by the DAC is known as a resolution. This is with respect to the converters we are speaking about. So resolution is number of analog output values that is provided by DAC. Suppose if we are going to consider an in-bit DAC, then resolution is given by 2 to the power of n. So resolution can also be defined as, there is one more definition, it can also be defined as the ratio of output voltage divided by the change in the LSB of the digital input. So 2 to the power of n minus 1. So resolution can also be defined as ratio of change in the output voltage from the change in the LSB at the digital inputs. So whenever you are going to change, whenever the values are going to change, let us assume uh, we are having uh, okay. So you know that 0, 1, 2, 3 like this. For 0, 0, let us take its equivalent is 0, 0, right? And for in order to represent 1, we'll take 0, 0, 0, 1. So in order to represent 2, 0, 0, 1, 0. So in order to represent 3, 0, 0, 1, 1. See, from this we can observe that if you want, if there is any change in the output value or change in the output value, output voltage value, then the change will occur from the LSB. See, 0 was there. See, suddenly we are not getting for the next value, we are not getting change in the MSB. The change is occurring at the LSB. At the lower bit values only, the change will occur. That is what the meaning here is. The output voltage change from a change in the LSB of a given digital input. So here, initially our signal was 0 volt. Next it got changed to 1 volt, next to 2, next to 3. So this is analog values we are telling. The same digital values will be written in this form, will be in this form. So if there is any change, then that change has to occur from the LSB values. So MSB values will change only when it is going to cover up all the LSB value, then only finally it is going to change the MSB value. But the initial change or successive change will be taking place at the LSB levels. So that is the definition of the resolution. So you can take any example and we can define that. And also we are having one more definition, that is accuracy. So accuracy means the comparison of the actual output with the expected output is known as accuracy. We are going to tell how much accurate uh, we are having. So it's a comparison of the actual output with the expected output. So from that we can tell so how much efficient a particular converter is. Have you done this experiment in your AC lab already?
So we have done only till multivibrators.
Multivibrator, still DAC, all those things are not done.
No, sir.
Okay. So when you do it, no, in the software simulation, you might get accurate values, but when we do it and by using the discrete components, so during that time, actually the expected value, theoretical value will be different, and actual value what will be getting will be slightly different. So from that we will just analyze whether the given values are correct or not. What am supposed to tell is, see, you are having, let us assume that for 0, 0, 1, 0, for that some equivalent value is some 2.5 millivolt, let us assume. So for that the equivalent value is 2.5 millivolt. This 2.5 millivolt, you have got it theoretically by applying the formula, you have got the value. Practically, when you are going to connect the circuit and you are going to measure the output voltage in the multimeter, during that time, instead of getting 2.5 millivolt, you might get 2.3 millivolt. So here, by just comparing this actual and whatever you are getting, by that we can come to know whether the converter is going to has converted a given set of values exactly or not. If your theoretical value is 2.5 volt and practical value are getting 0.5 volt, then it's wrong. So the term or a parameter which is going to deal with this is accuracy. Next is setting time. So it is a time required for by the DAC output to settle within plus or minus 1 by 2 LSB of the final value for a given digital input. So small variation will be there, as I told. There will be just some 0.5 variation, 0.3 variation will be there. It might be more or less. So within this, uh, it is going to settle down. So in the upcoming topic, we will be just looking onto some conversions where we will be telling if the range is from VR by 2 to 5 VR by 2, then this is this value. Like that, we are going to tell. So that variation is okay for us. Within this, if you get any value, then we are going to then the comparator is going to consider this is this value, or this is this output, like that. So in order to do that, it needs some time. So that time is known as the setting time. It is a time required for a DAC output to settle within plus or minus half of LSB of the final value for a given digital input. After that, the next part we are having is stability. So in the stability, we are this mainly this parameter is going to tell about the performance of the converter, because because in the converter we are going to use our discrete components like resistors and resistors, normal wires, the op amp, all those things we are going to use. So because of change in temperature or some fluctuation in the power supply, or because of aging, that means you have used it for a long time, some 4 5 years, 6 years, because of the aging of the components, the performance will change. Performance might be degraded, and the output voltage, whatever, or the conversion, whatever it is going to give, will can have some errors. So we tell that the performance of the converter has reduced. So under that condition, in order to maintain the stability, we need to consider some parameters like offset, gain, linearity error variation. So if you just observe, even in our while studying about the op-amp basics, we are discussing about the offset again and again, offset current, offset voltage, output offset, input offset. We were discussing because with respect to the some environmental changes or with respect to the aging of the components, so the stability will be will be decreasing. So during that time, we need to adjust. We need to do some settings. So in order to get the stability in the device. During that time, we are going to concentrate on this offset, gain, linear error, linearity error variations. So that's why in the power supply which we are using in our lab, you can see that there is an option of offset, DC offset, all those things. See, those are the settings which we are going to use when there is a severe error or severe instability in the output, or there is a severe instability of the device which you are going to use. During that time, we have to make some settings manually and make it stable. So during that time, we are going to use all these settings. That is about the stability. So now these are all the basic. These are all the basic things which we discussed till now. Now let us discuss two types of DAC techniques. In this DAC techniques, we are going to discuss first one is binary weighted resistor DAC, and the second one is R to 2 order 2R ladder DAC. So these are the two types of DAC techniques which we are going to discuss. In this, first we will discuss about the binary weighted resistor DAC. The binary weighted resistor and R to 2R ladder, see almost the connection looks the same, but each of them, because of some drawbacks in binary weighted resistor DAC, we went on for R to 2R ladder. But both of them are going to do the same work. So let us first discuss the earlier version of DAC. Then we will discuss about R to 2R DAC. So you can observe here, uh, first of all, what kind of op amp is it? Inverting or non-inverting?
So
Is an inverting op amp, because the non-inverting terminal is grounded. It's an inverting op amp. Here we will be having a common line which is going to be connected to the inverting terminal, and we have a feedback resistor, and we will be having a series of resistors based upon uh, which are actually these are connected parallelly. We will be having set of resistor which are connected in this fashion, and it depends upon how many number of bits you want to convert, whether you want to convert 3 bits, 4 bits, 2 bits, it depends on 8 bits. So based upon that, that many number of resistors needs to be connected. So here R value will be the common, R value will be the common, but it will be keep on having a multiplying factor. You can see that here it is 2, 2 to the power of 2, 2 to the power of 3, like that it is keep on increasing. So suppose if you are going to uh, if you want to have an 8-bit DAC, so during that time 8 such lines need to be connected, because each line is going to uh, is going to indicate one bit in the complete 8 bit. Each line is going to indicate one bit. Suppose, but one of the drawback what we face here is, see, in the 8 bit, if the first bit is 2 times R, so R is some constant value we are taking, and 2 times R, so that resistance value you are going to take here. But when you take the 8th bit, so the largest register will be 128 times R. So that means the largest value of the resistor we need to use. The smallest one will be 2R and largest one will be 128. So this large range of values uh, we need to keep on adding in the circuit, and also it will be very impractical to fabricate this many number of resistors. See, everything finally comes in an IC form or in a small device form. So it will be highly impractical to fabricate this many number of resistors, and because there is large variation from first resistor to the last resistor. So we go for the next one, but let us see uh, how it works and how we are going to uh, use this one. Basically, here we are going to consider the current through each of them, and current is given by VR by R. So the drop of voltage, sorry, the overall voltage, whatever it is given. See, there is a common voltage which is being given to all of them. It will be common for all the resistors. A common voltage is being given, and here you can see that the input, we are having a switch. We are having switches here. So whenever this whenever this bit is equal to 1, then the switch is going to close. This switch is going to close when bit is equal to 1, then that particular current is going to flow. If this bit is equal to 1, then the switch is going to close and that current is going to flow. And finally, okay, I want to ask one question now. Can you tell me what kind of amplifier it will be when all these three switches are going to close? What kind of amplifier it will be? Or it works as what kind of amplifier? Hmm? We are having number of amplifiers, right? In that, what kind of amplifier is it? Inverting subtractor, non-inverting subtractor, inverting adder, non-inverting adder, voltage follower, integrator, differentiator. Among that, to which category does it belong when the switches are closed? This you have already studied in your basic electronics, the first year. Nobody knows. Just try now. What kind of op amp it will be when the switch is going to close?
Is it an adder, sir?
Yes, very good. It's an adder. What it is doing here, it is going to add all the incoming signals and it is going to be given to the inverting terminal. So it's an inverting adder or inverting summer. When the switches are closed, it is going to act as inverting summer or inverting adder. So all the signals, whatever the currents which are coming here, are going to pass through this means. Obviously, it is going to add up all of them, or current or the voltage drop across this R values, the resistance values will be combined and it will be given at the inverting terminal. So it is going to act as inverting summary. Whenever this bit is equal to 0, during that time the current will be 0 because the switch will be open. This is what we are going to consider in the operation. So whenever bit is equal to 1, switch is closed, the current flows. Whenever the bit is 0, the switch is open and current will not flow, so the current will be 0. Again, I think you might remember while deriving the expression for the op-amp inverting summary or any non-inverting summary or anything, we used to apply the KCL to the node. What is this node? What do you call this node as? About that
Virtual,
node, yeah,
virtual ground, sir.
yes,
Virtual ground.
good. It's virtual ground. So this is, let us take this is node G, which is a virtual ground, obviously. So we are going to apply the KCL to this particular node. And now let us assume B1 is equal to 1, B2 is equal to 1, B3 is equal to 1, and even Bn is equal to 1. That is, all the switches are closed. So when we apply KCL to this node, we will be getting IF is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3 till IN. Since we know that the input impedance is considered to be infinite or maximum, no current will flow here. According to the Kirchhoff current law, the current entering is equal to current leaving. So all the current which are coming at this point will be equal to the current which is leaving through the feedback resistors. That's why we have taken IF is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3 till IN. So none of the current will flow through the op-amp since it is going to offer highest opposition, highest input impedance. But practically, small amount of current will be flowing, which will be neglected. Now to this, each individual currents, we are going to substitute its voltage and resistance equivalent. So I in terms of voltage and resistance means V by R. So I1 is equal to VR by 21 R. This will be multiplied by its corresponding bit B1. VR by 2 to the power of 2 R into V2 plus VR 2 to the power of 3 R into B3, like that till VR by 2 to the power of n R into Vn. Suppose any one of the bit is 0. Let us assume that B3 is 0. During that time, while substituting, we are going to substitute B3 as 0. So this entire term will become 0. That is the logic which is used here. Now, the output voltage. If you want to find the output voltage, obviously we need to consider, if you take the output voltage, it will be minus IF into RF. We get negative because it's an inverting op-amp. So always remember one thing, the negative sign, it is going to just indicate you that input and output are having a phase difference of 180 degree. It never indicates the output is negative, that is, it is a negative value like that. It is just indicating it is the inverted form. Okay, and even the generalized form also will write V naught is equal to gain into input for the op amp. So you'll be getting, let us take inverting op amp. You'll get RF minus RF by R1 into VI. So this doesn't indicate that gain is negative or input is negative. It is just indicating that output and input are having a phase difference of 180 degree and they are inverse of each other. That's it. So please remember, this is the basic thing. So because whenever we ask in the viva and all, what is minus means, we will tell it's a negative, we are getting negative value, that's why we are putting minus. The negative sign indicates it is having a phase difference of 180 degree between input and output. After that, we are just going to substitute the above equation. So we will be getting, we are having IF, and we'll just substitute in this equation. We are substituting IF here. So we get V naught is equal to minus VR by R into RF. We have taken R common into B1 2 to the power of minus 1 plus B2 2 to the power of minus 2 plus B3 2 to the power of minus 3 till Bn to the power of minus n. Suppose if Rf is equal to R, the resistance values are equal. During that time, V naught becomes equal to minus Vr into V1 to the power of minus 1 plus V2 to the power of minus 2 till the nth value. So this is how the binary weighted resistor works. But as I told already, there is two drawbacks, major drawbacks. The one drawback is we are having large set of resistances. The initial resistance will be 2R, later on 4R, 8R. Finally, if you take for 8-bit, it comes around 128R. That much high resistance you need to take. Suppose if you take R value as 1 kilo ohm, the first resistor should be 2 kilo, but the last resistance will be 128 kilo ohm. So that many number of range of resistors you need to align, and fabrication of that set of range of resistors is highly complicated, and it is not practically uh, easy to do it. And to convert it into IC also, it will be having problem. So that's why we, in order to overcome this kind of problems, we go for R2 to R ladder type. So next is R2 to R ladder. So R2 to R ladder type oscillator, because when you look in from this side, it has common resistors 2R, 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 2R like that, and when you look in from this side, it looks like a ladder fashion. It is in the ladder fashion. That's why we call it as R to 2R ladder. R to R, R to R, R to R. That's why R to 2R ladder type DAC. Since it looks like a ladder, we call it as ladder type oscillator. Sorry, ladder type DAC. Even we have. Can anyone tell me what's the which oscillator is known as the ladder type oscillator? This is the ladder type DAC. We call one oscillator as ladder type oscillator. Yesterday, so many oscillators. Among that, one is known as ladder type oscillator. I have told.
Sir, RC phase shift oscillator.
Yes, very good. RC phase shift oscillator is known as ladder type oscillator. Please remember that. Now, so here you can look into the circuit. It is simplified, and also here we are going to use both the terminals, but you can observe the negative terminal will be connected to the switch. Actually, it's also inverting type of op amp only. Instead of connecting all these terminals to a separate ground, we are connecting directly to this, because already non-inverting terminal is grounded. Now we have made it as a common. See, this portion is a common ground. It's a common ground connection. Whenever the switch is closed, during that time, the current is going to flow through this, and corresponding output voltage is going to be obtained. So here we are going to S1, S2, Sn minus 1, Sn. So these are all the bits. So whichever, suppose I have 1, 0, 1, 1. Then what I'll do is, I'll take S1, this is S2, S3, S4. What I'll do, I will close this switch. I'll close. So suppose I get S3 here and some S4 here. So I'm going to close those two switches, and S2 will be opened as it is. Instead of telling B1, B2, B3, B4, we can tell it as S1, S2, S3, S4. This is with respect to the switch. Here I have shown both B1 as well as S1. So when the MSB is high, during that time, the switch S1 is going to be closed. Then the current will be flowing through this. Whenever, suppose B1 is 0, when B1 is 0, during that time, the switch S1 will be opened. When switch S1 is opened, during that time, you can observe that when here this is the case where is equal to 0, B1 is equal to 0. The switch is opened and it is connected to the ground. This line is a ground line. When switch is open, automatically it is connected to the ground, and that indicates that particular bit is 0. How we will be finding this value? So to find this, see, I1 is the current which is flowing in the first branch, I2, I3, like that. I1 is equal to VR by 2R. When it comes to the second, it will be VR by 2. And when it comes to the third line, if you have third line, it becomes VR by 4, because it will be keep on dividing. Since, okay, let me know from your side. These lines, whatever we are having now, R2R and this 2R, are they parallel or what? And do they have same voltage? Do they have same voltage? Are these two branches parallel?
No, sir, they're not parallel, so they're neither parallel nor series.
Yeah. So these two branches are not parallel, because between these two we are having one more resistor R. So we cannot tell the voltage across this will be equal to voltage across this, because in parallel branches we'll tell the parallel branches will have same voltage. But here, since between these two we are having one more resistor, we'll be having the additional drop. So these two will not have the same voltage, but the voltage will be keep on reducing. To the first level we are having VR by 2R. For the second line we are having VR by 2. In the third line we'll have VR by 4. Like that, in the nth line, the last one, so VR divided by 2 to the power of n minus 1. So like that it will be keep on the voltage will be keep on reducing, because more drop will be occurring at the MSB only. By the time it reaches the LSB, the voltage will be keep on reducing. So this is how the logic is. After this, again we are going to apply the KCL to this particular node, and again the same method, V naught is equal to IF into RF. So IF is taken as all the currents is equal to all the current leaving. The current entering is equal to current leaving. Current entering is I1, I2, IN, all those things are the current entering, and this is the current leaving. So IF will be equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3 till IN. After this, we are going to substitute the values. We are going to substitute the values VR by 2R, V1, V2, like that. Take RF common, and if RF is equal to R, then V0 becomes minus VR, V1 to the power of minus 1, V2 to the power of minus 2, like this. So this is how we are going to find the analog equivalent of a given digital input by using R to 2R ladder. So here the main advantage is there are only two types of resistors, either R or 2R. If you take R value as 1K, so you'll be using two values only. Continuously you'll be using two values only. 1K, 2K, 1K, 2K. If this is 1 kilo ohm, this will be 2 kilo ohm, 2 kilo ohm. So you'll be using only two set of values. But in our earlier case, binary weighted resistor DAC, we need to keep on changing the resistors. So this is one of the advantage. And binary input length can be increased by just adding R to 2R sections. So how many number of bits you want, that many number of R to 2R you need to just add. And here the node voltage remains constant with changing the binary input, and input will be the inverted form. So it will be avoiding for a slowdown effect, which is obtained by the parasitic capacitance or junction capacitance or the stray capacitance, which will occur in the circuit. Okay. So this is about R to 2R DAC. In the next class, we will study about A to D converters.